Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 49ers, 49ers Live tonight here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios in San Francisco. This is the aftermath. Sorry about that. It's the 49ers aftermath. The day after the 49ers once again, the result, a new year, same results. The 49ers fell to the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 28-18 on Sunday yesterday at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, and the Chiefs continued its domination of the Kansas City Chiefs. They have now beaten San Francisco 7 of their last 8 games. This is going back to the 2006 regular season, and currently with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they've beaten the 49ers 5 in a row, including the 2 Super Bowl defeats as well. So we're gonna have a try. We're gonna do cram in and have a very brief show. We're gonna recap the game. Uh, Nothing really more else to say, but the Niners, of course, got the news earlier in the day that Brandon Ayuk did tear his ACL and MCL. He's done for the season, and Ayuk's final numbers in 24, 25 catches, 404 yards, averaging 16.2 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns. And prolonged holdout, long prolonged holdout, and then didn't get his didn't he missed all the OTAs and all the workouts dealing with that contract. Sadly, especially coming off going to the Super Bowl, when you're not in shape, something in reality, something in the he's probably now gonna most likely he may miss some time when they have the OTAs and a portion of training camp next spring. So he signed that big contract, and and that and then not only that, but nothing more was compounded. Here we go. So sorry for the cutting in and out of the of the stream. So uh, Debo Samuel had the pneumonia. So deep, a friend of mine who was born in Originally lived out here in the Bay Area for a long, long time. Originally from West Philadelphia in Philly. He grew up in the same neighborhood where actor Will Smith and his cohort DJ Jazzy Jeff, and he ended up getting couldn't breathe. He was rushed. He got ended up going to the emergency room. He ended up collapsing. He had fluid in his lungs. He ended up dying. Very sad, tragic story. That's why you have to take care of yourself. Try to get your flu shots, all that taken care of. Don't delay, So hopefully, Debo can get out of this. His stay is, by the way, uncertain for Sunday night's game against the Dallas Cowboys. So now we'll take back a week number 8 um, at the Niners try to rebound and bounce back after that tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers back in Week 7. The Niners come into this game 6-1 against an 0-6 Houston Oilers team. We'll take a look back at that game, and then we'll give you a scoreboard around Week 8 of the National Football League from the year 1984. You're online watching us right now, late night tonight, on 49er fans. Check us out, youtube.com/at Niners Radio 49. And we're going to go to Kyle Shanahan's presser. This is earlier in the day. Give you all the injury So I hope you enjoyed this segment with Kyle Shanahan, and we're gonna play it.
All right, guys. Injuries from the game. Chris Conley has an ankle sprain. He'll be day to day. George Kittle, foot sprain, day to day. Debo Samuel, he had kind of an odd illness, some fluid in his lungs, so technically pneumonia. And confirming Brandon Ayuk did tear his ACL, so obviously be out for the season. And that's it from the game. Go ahead.
Do you have a timeline for Debo Samuel?
No, he's. We'll see how he's in the hospital still, and we'll see how he recovers here over these next couple of days.
And Kyle, is there any other in addition to the ACL that could complement or
You went out. What was the? Say that again.
Is there any other ligament damage to Brandon that could complicate his recovery?
I know he had the MCL also, but I haven't got all. I didn't look into all of it yet. I just finished with the players, but I was told the ACL and there's MCL in there also.
Kyle, you had a long talk with Kyle. You had a lengthy talk with Brock in the locker room after the game. Was there anything you were focusing on in particular when talking to him?
No, we're talking like we always do. I just didn't realize all you guys were standing behind me spying on us. But it was just love talking to guys after the game. I just happened to be walking back, and he was standing right there, so we stopped and started talking. It really caught me off. I forgot everyone was still in there. We were just hanging out, talking about the game and things like that. And then when I looked behind, you guys kind of scared me. I didn't realize everyone was creeping so bad, but that's just what we all do. We talk.
Looking back at the film, is there anything Brock is not seeing or that he is seeing that isn't there? I mean, when you look at the film?
Yeah, every game. I mean, there's always just same with the other quarterback on the other side. But those 3 picks, I know Brock would love to have back. He didn't have anything on that last one down in the red zone, but he's got to sit there and take the sack so he can kick a field goal and make it a 6-point game.
Are there any coaching points that in particular you're focusing on with him, or is it just all around seeing things the way they are on the field as opposed to what he might think he's seeing?
Yeah, we got coaching points on every single play. So I can't give an overall just narrative for you guys on a coaching point, but each play is different. And Brock's having a hell of a year. Didn't have his best game yesterday, and that's why I'm a little bit late in here. Just finished going through all those 70-something, 80 plays, and got something on all of them for not just Brock but for everybody.
Kyle, when did Debo go to the hospital? Was it something he didn't realize was as bad during the game, or did he go in last night, this morning?
He went in last night. I think it started acting up in the middle of the night, Saturday night or early Sunday morning, and then it just kind of evolved as the day went. So once we found out he had the fluid in his lungs and stuff after the game, then I believe they sent him over there. I'm not sure the timeline of it, but I just found out that's where he was Sunday night when I was at home.
Kyle, have you had a chance to catch up with Brandon, and what's his initial reaction to the injury news?
I mean, I talked with him last night, just calling him at his house. I haven't seen him today, but he was hurting, just bummed out, as exactly how you'd expect. But he's a strong dude and spiritual guy, and believes everything happens for a reason, so he'll be all right. But definitely a little down last night, and I was just telling him how bad I felt for him, and just let him know we're all here for him through this.
Kyle, I'm sure you probably wanted to ease Ricky in a little bit more than you were able to, but when you went back and looked at the film, what did you see from him, and what are your expectations going forward?
Yeah, I was proud of Ricky just for him having to be ready for some spots that we were hoping he didn't have to be ready for. I mean, not just him, but also Jay Cowing and Ronnie Bell. Conley's been in that role, and we've been utilizing him in a number of spots when guys are out or just taking a couple plays off. But we had to mix a lot of stuff around there in the second quarter and halftime, or mainly halftime. And those guys were in some spots they didn't get reps at, and for the most part, they didn't make too many mistakes, and gave us a chance to get back in the game and gave us a chance to win. And hopefully we can build off of that. And these guys are going to get a lot more reps going forward with BA being out, with Juwan and Debo. Not sure if we'll get him back this week or not. So it was a good start for those guys, and they should have a lot more coming.
What did you like what you saw from Cowling for what he did?
I like how he ran on the screen that we got him. That was the first play out that we missed BA. So it was nice to get him a screen the first play, and I thought he ran it pretty aggressively and got 9 yards on it. He was ready for the curl pump that we gave him later in the game. But he stepped in and did a good job when he got his opportunities.
Kyle, where do things stand with Christian and Jake Moody, and also anything on Dre Greenlaw potentially coming back to practice anytime soon?
Christian's still progressing through his rehab. He hasn't had any setbacks, so it's been all good news so far. Be surprised to get him back this week, but hopefully that the bye week will go well and have a much better chance there right after the bye week. And Greenlaw's still a few weeks after that. Everything's still going fine, but no time soon right now. And Jake Moody with a high ankle sprain. I mean, we know we're not going to get him back till after the bye week at the earliest, so we'll have to wait till then to see how he reacts.
Say two more.
Kyle, you talked about a hard last night about a hard look at the film today. What was it like whenever there was that team, and how did you think they responded?
I think I try to cover as much as I can as the team. I don't get as much into the details with the team because there's so many clips to go over. I try to just let them know what happened throughout the game, the perspective of all three phases, and then we break up into our rooms and detail it in the positions a lot more. But the guys, it's always hard after a loss like that to come in and watch it. I thought the guys handled it well, though. I wanted to show all the spots that, as bad as it did feel, how many times we had a chance to win, and that I'm not trying to take anything away from Kansas City, but how much we hurt ourselves in that game, and how many things that, despite injuries, despite anything like that, that we can dictate. And we did it at times, which got us close, but it wasn't good enough, and we made too many mistakes. And with the turnovers, with some of the things in the red zone, and there's a number of things that we can do a lot better that can lead to a win. And if you don't correct that stuff, it doesn't matter who you play. You end up being a 500 type team.
Kyle, with the injury to Brandon and the situation with Debo, you talked about Conley and Jennings' hip. How does that shape up your strategy going forward with the trade deadline a couple of weeks now closing in? We saw a couple of wide-out movements. How does that factor into the way you're thinking about the trade deadline now?
Well, I mean, it makes you look into everything. I mean, we try to look into everything regardless. Obviously, with more issues that came up yesterday, you still want to look into everything, but has to do with what options are out there, with stuff that we can pull off that doesn't totally hurt us, that helps us now and doesn't hurt us for the future. So there's lots of decisions that go into it. So we'll look into everything, but a lot of times that's just kind of living in hope. Those answers aren't always out there. You got to be ready to get people better in your building and deal with what you got in your building. And if you ever find something that makes sense, we'll never hesitate on it. But that isn't, it's not always available like you hope it is.
So don't let that chip spoil your trip.
Is that a chip? That happens a lot, but say.
All right, so that is Kyle Shanahan in a video conference call earlier this afternoon over in Santa Clara. As you recapping the game, the video that clip is courtesy from 49ers.com. We'd like to thank them for providing all the us information so we can provide for all you 49er fans. So from 49ers.com, the video feed. So just recap of what had happened with the of the game. They had too many mistakes, missed opportunities once again in the red zone. They had a chance to get within before the Chiefs drive down for that game clinching score. They had chances to really the Niners had chances to really put that get with a touchdown right there would have got them closer, and if but they had too many mistakes. And with the injury front again, of course, Brandon Ayuk's done for the season with that torn ACL and MCL, his status, and then of course what happened with Debo Samuel. He ended up getting pneumonia and stayed overnight in the hospital. His status for next Sunday's game against the Dallas Cowboys is right now, for now, is a lot of uncertainty for that. Then some of the positives, Christian McCaffrey's rehab with his strained Achilles, is some good progress. And then he should be ready to go after the bye week. Dre Greenlaw, Achilles, where he blew up his Achilles in this heartbreaking Super Bowl loss, 9 months ago. He's got a little bit of a ways, not anytime soon at this time, but it's going to be a little way. Jake Moody, high ankle sprain, probably going to, he should be ready after the bye. And then for Juan Jennings with his hip, his status is unknown. Whether hopefully he'll be ready to suit up next Sunday when the Niners take on the Dallas Cowboys for Sunday Night Football. So there you have it. The 49ers fall to the Kansas City Chiefs interconference play by a score of 28 to 18. Niners have lost 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8 versus the Minnesota Vikings. And put this into perspective, Andy Reid's team, where he coached back to his time in Philadelphia since 2006, and Andy Reid coached team has beaten the Niners, have won 9 of their last 11. In fact, the Andy Reid coached team, going back to his days with the Philadelphia Eagles, they've won 6 of their last 7 and 7 of their last 9 at home versus, or the Niners have lost 7 out of 9 against an Andy Reid team at home since 2002. So Andy Reid has had an upper hand, have really had the 49ers number over the years, even during the days of Steve Mariucci, even when the 49ers were rebuilding under Mike Nolan. But the Niners, of course, they the Niners are trying to hope they could try to salvage one game before their bye week, and then look at also add more insult to injury on Monday night. The Arizona Cardinals coming back with a win over the LA Chargers for Monday Night Football. So that means now so with that victory, as we look at the NFC, take a look at the standings in the NFC. Seahawks have a 1-game lead over both the 49ers and the Cardinals. The Niners now, technically, they will drop the 3rd place in the NFC West with a 3-4 record. As you know, the Cardinals, who already had beaten them 2 weeks ago, end up beating them 2 weeks ago at the Mecca in Santa Clara, already have both tiebreakers over the 49ers head-to-head and record within the division. So the Niners got to try to hope to get one win in before the bye week coming up. So we continue on Niners Radio 49ers Live for Monday, the aftermath. We will now go back into our flashback segment. We'll take you back to Week 8 of the NFL season, the 1984 San Francisco 49ers, in honoring of their 40-year anniversary when they won their 2nd Super Bowl in 4 years. After that great year when they went 15-1 in the regular season, set a first team to win 15 games and first to win 18 overall in a single season. So let's give you a recap of what happened the previous week. The 49ers coming off suffering their first loss, in fact their first and only defeat of the season, back in week number 7, as the season is already past the quarter mark, getting close towards this midway point at the end towards the first half. The 49ers end up falling to the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-17 out at Candlestick Park, and that was their first and only loss of the season, and that was a big win for the Niners. They fell to 6-1. The Steelers improved the soon to the eventual AFC Central Division champion Pittsburgh Steelers. They improved to 4-3. So as the Niners now move forward, turn the page, we will now go to week number 8, and this was from Sunday, October 21st, 1984, exactly 4 years ago today. October 21st, 1984, the Niners would travel down to Texas to take on the Houston Oilers in the Astrodome in Houston. And going into this game, the Niners were 6-1, while the struggling Houston Oilers were 0-7. and they had fallen on hard times. The Oilers were falling on hard times in recent years after, when they decided to when they fired Bum Phillips, and things kind of went downhill for the Oiler franchise, and as they were in a rebuilding mode. This is going to be an fascinating matchup. It's Warren Moon in his first year with the Houston Oilers, first year to be in the NFL to be exact. He, of course, played for the Edmonton Eskimos in the CFL, the Canadian Football League. Had a good collegiate career at the University of Washington. Was the MVP of the 1978 Rose Bowl. They were Pac-8 champions for 1977. They played the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1978. So let's get to this game. Niners taking on the Houston Oilers in the Astrodome. And this segment, we're going to share you the highlights from from Week 8. Niners taking on the Houston Oilers in the Astrodome in Houston. And hold on. I got to get right back to the main part. So we're going to show you that clip. I'm going to show you that clip. And on the Oilers as they travel down to the Astrodome in Houston. We are going to get ready to share you that video just a few moments. We're a little bit of a delay on a set, so we're going to here we go.
Last Sunday, though, they failed once more, as it was Wendell Tyler who were displaying plenty of desire under the Astrodome. Tyler's 26-yard touchdown put the 49ers up 17-7 at the half. But while Houston appears to be a long way from breaking their losing habit, they have at least been making it a custom to show some fight. Warren Moon hit on 25 of 33 passes for 356 yards, including this 45-yard scoring strike to Tim Smith. But he picked the wrong time to enjoy his best day in the NFL.
Okay, we had some technical difficulties on that last clip, so we're going to try to set it up again one more time. The Niners were taking on the Houston Oilers down at the Dome. We'll try to do it again one more time. And
yard scoring strike to Tim Smith, but he picked the wrong.
So we're going to try this again one more time. We'll pick it up where Joe Montana was about to throw a touchdown strike to the late Dwight Clark. This is that video footage, by the way, is courtesy by NFL Films. I don't own any copyrights of that. We want to try to be very cautious that we respect the people who, with the copyright, but we're just showing like little tidbit highlights briefly. We don't want to show the whole thing, but this is like a rolling clip, so we're gonna try it again one more time. But we want to, out of fairness and integrity, we're just gonna give credit. So we're gonna show you that clip. This was just 1 second. So we're gonna show you that piece.
Wrong time to enjoy his best day in the NFL. Because in the end, Houston was no match for Joe Montana and Dwight Clark. This 80-yard touchdown pass was the longest in both Clark and Montana's careers, and it easily sealed San Francisco's 34-21 victory. As for Houston and their fans, well, even with the Oilers facing the prospect of a winless season, there is still something of an attachment. Only this is one uneasy union that appears to have all the passion of a shotgun wedding.
All right, that was of course that video footage courtesy of NFL Films. That was from their highlight week in review preview. As we continue to go back in time in our time machine segment from that year, 1984, it was a great year to be a 49er fan. They struggled a bit, but they were able to eke out a win, a big, important road win, bouncing back after that tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're going to give you the final the game. Once again was played on October 21st, 1984. And they played that game down in the Astrodome in Houston, known as the Eighth Wonder of the World. So we're going to go into this segment, and okay, we're going to go to 1984. Let's give you the final numbers of that game. And once again, all the footage are rolling footage courtesy of the 49ers.com and NFL Films, all the highlights. So this Week 8 matchup this interconference matchup between the 49ers and the Houston Oilers was from October 21st, 1984, and the Niners end up winning this game by a score of 34-21. The kickoff time of this game was at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so this was the late window for CBS's coverage of the National Football League. It was the late window regional coverage, 1 p.m. Pacific, and it's 3 o'clock Central Time in Houston. And then the game was, of course, in the Astrodome. This game was blacked out in the Houston area, only 39,900, and of course, back in those days, when your team is, when you don't sell out at a certain time, if you don't sell out within 48 hours, your game in your local area will be blacked out. So this game was blacked out throughout the entire Houston area. So this game was televised on CBS, and the announcers were both the late Tom Brookshire, who was at that network for so many years, and was, of course, was Pat Summerall's original #1 team doing football from 1975 through 1980, or January of '81, the NFC Championship, before they made the switch and replaced Brookshire with John Madden from our generation. He was doing the play-by-play for CBS, and he used to be worked at the CBS affiliate WCAU Channel 10, a longtime CBS affiliate in Philadelphia, and they were a longtime affiliate before, prior to 1995, when CBS made the switch, or WCAU Channel 10 switched from a CBS affiliate to an NBC affiliate in Philadelphia. He was doing the play-by-play. Of course, Wayne Walker. He was Wayne Walker was doing color commentating. Of course, he worked at CBS doing regional coverage of the NFL, and he was the longtime sports director, the late Wayne Walker, at KPIX Channel 5. He was on the weekday evening news with the late Dave McElhatton, of course, with Wendy Dakuta, and the late Joel Bartlett, part of that KPIX Channel 5 Eyewitness News. And for for us older generation, the 49er station used to be KPIX Channel 5 on CBS when the NFC had the rights for the NFC on CBS, and then the AFC, the American Football Conference, the contractual rights was to NBC. But this was a CBS game because the Niners were playing the Houston Oilers on the road in an AFC park, so this was on CBS, and we want to get to more of the facts of this game. Joe Montana in this game threw for 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Wendell Tyler led the Niners with 23 carries for 108 yards. Dwight Clark, the late Dwight Clark, boy, we missed Dwight Clark, number 87. 5 receptions, 127 yards and a touchdown. Warren Moon, another future Hall of Famer with a rebuilding Oiler team. Of course, he'll have better days with the House of Pain defense later on down the road. 25 and 33, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions. Larry Moriarty, 9 carries. They held him to just 9 carries and 36 yards. Timmy Smith, 6 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. So, with the win, the Niners improved to 7-1 with the best record in the NFC. They go to 7-1, while the Houston Oilers dropped to 0-8. They handed them their 8th straight loss. So, and now with that, we will now go into week number 8 of the NFL scoreboard. NFL scoreboard from week number 8. We're going to post this up. This is some good stuff. Recap of that season. So, of week number 8 of the 1984 regular season. So just give me a few minutes just to try to add on. Here we go. So, all right, so some of the final scores in week number 8. The Philadelphia Eagles over the New York Giants 24-10, and a NFC East longtime rival as Phil Simms threw for in that game. We just got lost for a minute. Alright, so Phil Simms threw for 248 yards in the game and an interception. Ron Jaworski, the veteran, threw for 287 yards. He threw 3 touchdowns. He threw no interceptions. Leading the way for the Eagles was Wilbert Montgomery. He rushed for 61 yards on 16 carries. And then Rob Carpenter rushed for 47 yards. He had himself a touchdown. So that means with the win, the Eagles improved their record to 4-4, while the Giants dropped to 4-4. The Chicago Bears with a convincing win all over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down at Tampa Stadium, 44-9. Jim McMahon threw for 219 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and then Walter Payton rushed for 72 yards on 20 carries, 2 touchdowns. The Bears' top-ranked defense held James Wilder, running back of the Buccaneers, only to 44 yards rushing on 13 carries. And then, so with that win, the Bears improved them 3 in first place in the NFC Central, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-5. And then in the Battle of the State of Ohio, Cleveland Browns defeat or I should say the Bengals eking one out, beating the Browns at Riverfront Stadium 9-12. Paul McDonald threw for 300 yards even, but he threw 2 interceptions. And they led it with a field goal kicking day as they end up, of course, with Jim Breach at 3 field goals. It was enough for the Bengals. They improved to 2-6. The Browns dropped to 1-7. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos all over the Buffalo Bills, 37-7. They hand the Bills their 8th straight loss. John Elway threw for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns in the contest. Bills dropped to 0-8. The Denver Broncos go to 7-1. And then it was the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Lions 16, Vikings 14. Gary Danielson threw for 260 yards and threw an interception for the Lions. And then Billy Sims led the way for the 22 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown in this contest. So the Lions improved to 3-5. The Vikings dropped to 2-6. And then it was the Miami Dolphins completing their season sweep over the New England Patriots as they go win 44-24. Dan Marino threw for 316 yards. He threw 1 interception, 4 touchdown passes. Tony Easton threw for 313 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in the losing effort. And then Mark Clayton, 7 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. And so with the win, the Dolphins now improved to 8-0 as we're now at the season's halfway mark. 8-0. Patriots dropped to 5-3. The Dolphins at press time week 8 with the last undefeated team have the best record in the NFL. Other games to look at, it was the Indianapolis Colts upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The same Steelers who knocked off your 49ers the previous week. They go and beat the Steelers by a point, 17-16 at the Hoosier Dome, later be known as the RCA Dome. Former Dolphins quarterback David Willey threw for 212 yards, an interception, a touchdown. Mike Pagel threw for 178 yards and a touchdown. And then Frank Parlett led the Steelers 81 yards rushing on 20 carries. And then John Stallworth led the Steelers 5 catches for 101 yards. So with the loss, the Steelers go to 4-4. The Colts go to 3-5. Then the Seattle Seahawks playing the Green Bay Packers in an interconference matchup. And this is when the Seattle Seahawks were in the AFC West for all those years prior to 2002. They go into Lambeau Field and beat the Packers 30-24. Dave Craig threw for 310 yards, 2 interceptions. He threw 2 touchdown passes. The veteran Len Dickey threw 3 touchdown passes, 364 yards, but he threw 3 interceptions in the losing effort. Steve Largent, the future Hall of Famer, 7 catches for 129 yards and a touchdown. And then Gary Ellis led the Packers, 5 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. So with the win, the Seahawks improved to 6-2 in the very competitive AFC West, while the Packers dropped to 1-7. And Then, in a showdown in the NFC East, it was the St. Louis Cardinals beating the Washington Redskins 26-24, and it was, I think, Neil O'Donnell who hit a game-winning field goal. The St. Louis Cardinals play at Bush Memorial Stadium against the two-time defending NFC champion Washington Redskins. Joe Theismann threw for 224 yards and two touchdowns in the losing effort, but Neil Lomax, 361 yards passing, three touchdown passes, and he was a not a bad, pretty good quarterback, but unfortunately he suffered that serious hip injury later on when the team was in Phoenix, and that kind of and he never recovered and was forced to retire. O.J. Anderson, who later would be the MVP for Super Bowl 35 or 25 when he was with the New York Giants, 16 carries for 76 yards. Art Monk, a future Hall of Famer, 6 catches for 87 yards, and the most underrated receiver in the NFL. Why he's never even considered in the Hall of Fame? Roy Green, 6 catches, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cardinals improved to 5-3. Redskins dropped to 5-3. And then the other games on, it was the Jets over the New York Jets over the Kansas City Chiefs at the Meadowlands. This was the Jets' first season playing at Giant Stadium after they left Shea Stadium. 28-7 the final score. It was Pat Ryan, the veteran, throwing for 260 yards. He threw 3 touchdown passes as Mickey Schuler led the way for the Jets, 7 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown for the tight end Mickey Schuler. Jets improved to 6-2. The Chiefs dropped to 500 at 4-4. And then one of the late games on Sunday, the defending Super Bowl champion Raiders, and with their victory, with a 44-37 shootout win over the San Diego Chargers at then known as Jack Murphy Stadium, before it was Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. For the defending Super Bowl champions, Raiders over the Chargers 44-37, a long old AFC West rival going back to the days of the AFL. Mark Wilson threw for 332 yards, he threw an interception, threw 5 touchdown passes. San Francisco, the Bay Area's own Dan Fouts, St. Ignatius High School graduate out in the outer Sunset District. He threw for 410 yards, 3 touchdown passes in a losing effort, but he threw 3 interceptions. Marcus Allen, 19 carries, 107 yards. Ernest Jackson ended up 20 carries for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Marcus Allen led 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Allen, for the whole game, ended up having 147 all-purpose yards. And another future Hall of Famer, Kellen Winslow, 8 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown in a losing effort. With the win, the Raiders improved their record to 7-1. The Chargers slid back to 500 at 4-4. And then it was the Dallas Cowboys over the New Orleans Saints, 30-27 down at Texas Stadium, as it was Tony Dorsett leading yards, and then former Stanford Cardinal Tony Hill, 7 catches for 90 yards. The Cowboys improved their record to 5-3. The Saints go to 3-5. And then on Monday Night Football, the Rams go on to beat the Falcons 24-10 down at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium down in the South. Jeff Kemp, who later quarterbacked the 49ers, threw 129 yards, a touchdown. Steve Barkowski, San Jose native from the South Bay. Steve Barkowski, who will later play at Cal Berkeley, threw for 144 yards and a touchdown. Eric Dickerson, a monster year for him. He had 24 carries, 145 yards and a touchdown. He of course would break O.J. Simpson's yardage leader in a single season later in the year. We'll get to that down the road. And with the win, the Rams improved their record to 5-3. Falcons go to 3-5. So you look at the NFC West right now. The 49ers with a 7-1 record. They now have a commanding two. They maintain a commanding two-game lead over the LA Rams for first place in the NFC West. They're two up on the Rams. They are two up on the Rams, and they are now four up on both the Saints and Falcons. And that brings us to next week. That will bring us up to next week. That will bring us to next week when we preview, when we continue to pay homage to the 1984 season, the 40th anniversary of their Super Bowl season. We'll go to week number 8 as the season is now at the midway point. As we are in now in mid or in late October, the Niners have a 7-1 record with the best record in the NFC and kind of a three-way tie for the second best record in all of football. Only one team, as the season's at the halfway point, has a better record, and that's of course the Miami Dolphins. And the Niners right now have the best record in the NFC as the season ends the night as the end of week 8. The Niners have a commanding two-game lead over the Rams for first place in the NFC West, and they already have a 4-game lead over both the Saints and Falcons. And next week, when we do our 49ers flashback, we'll take a look of week number 9 as the Niners begin the second half of the season. This is where they begin to make their move and really start to put some separation when the 49ers take on the Rams at Anaheim Stadium. And that's a big divisional game because this is where the Niners are going to begin to start separating themselves against a Rams team. And they've already beaten, and they've already played both the Saints and Falcons already once. And they're going to play the Rams for the first time in 1984. We'll take a look back at that game next week. This is where the 49ers are going to begin to who have a 2-game lead, really going to start to put some separation to the rest of the division. This is a big game. Niners and Rams will recap that from week 9, October 28th of 1984. Next time on our 49er flashback on Niners Radio 49 as we continue to pay homage of the 40-year anniversary of that 1984 49ers. That was a Super Bowl season. It was their second Super Bowl in 4 years. And a reminder coming up tomorrow, we'll have 49ers Live tonight again. Busy day, or tomorrow we'll have it. We're going to recap. We'll keep you up with the latest news on the injuries and so much more. And our 49er flashback tomorrow on 49ers Live, we'll take a look back of the honor of the 35-year anniversary of the 1989 49ers. That team won back-to-back Super Bowls. And we'll take a look of, we'll take a look of week number, as we get towards the halfway mark, we will take a look of week number 7 of the 1989 NFL season. The 49ers will take on recap that game. We'll recap the Niners taking on the New England Patriots. Unfortunately, that game originally scheduled at Candlestick Park was switched to Stanford Stadium because of the damage, due to the partial damage and the conditions at Candlestick Park due to the earthquake, was disrupted prior to Game 3 of the 1989 World Series, and known as the Battle of the Bay between the Giants and the A's. We will get into depth of that recap of that game, Niners and Patriots, from October 22nd, 1989. And that was a game, of course, Jeff Fuller suffered a career-ending neck injury, and Joe Montana ended up spraining his knee in that game. And we'll talk about that game at this time, and it would be the first time the Niners back at Stanford Stadium since their Super Bowl XIX win. And then later in the week, we'll take back in our 49er flashback the 30-year anniversary of the 1994 49ers. We'll take a look back of week number As we get to the midway point, the 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Candlestick Park. So we covered everything tonight, and also we just like to tell everybody last week we end up yours truly. Yeah, so the 49ers, we won the Boost Awards, Niners Radio 49, and we got $1,000 grant fund, not only for Niners Radio 49, but our main sister station affiliate, Satellite Digital Media. This is going to cover for all our expenses if we continue to upgrade and make our my entrepreneurship broadcast network as one of the top podcasts, and we're going to continue to build this. It's going to be some good times coming, even though the 49ers have been struggling. And I'm going to reiterate this again. Thank you for all you guys' support, and this was just humbled by this game. Okay, sorry about that. Apologize for the inconvenience, technical difficulties. So it was a great honor day, historical day last week. Thank Peter Haas and the rest of the Boost Awards community for getting yours truly that award, and we could continue to push forward to be one of the highest broadcast podcasts around the country. So that's going to wrap it up tonight for 49ers Live tonight. Niners hope to bounce back. They'll play the Dallas Cowboys. Sunday Night Football will be back out there. Reminder, 49ers Tailgate Show will air it on either this week, recap from last Sunday over at Levi Stadium. And for Niner fans, just hang in there. I know injuries are the thing. Every year is different, from what happened. Last year's success is not going to always translate. So just hang in there. Hope, get some people back. Niners could go on a roll in the second half of the season and have a chance to get back to the playoffs, at least defend their crown as champions of the NFC. So for the latest news on 49ers and so much more, go to 49ers.com and check us out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. And as always, please click the subscribe button. And our goal is we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers, give you all the latest 49ers content, news, and so much more. And also, we'll be doing some stuff out of bounds, though, too. Special thing coming up on Saturday, this special 49er rally event. I'm going to be out there with Antonio Vallo. I'm going to be getting in contact with him later in the week, get more information, be at San Jose. 49er alumni will be at this event. This is going to be a great event, and we're going to be getting some footage from there. For now, Brian Professor B. Davis here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios here at Candlestick Man Cave. Signing off for tonight. Thank you for watching 49ers Live tonight on Niners Radio 49. And 49ers Live tonight is in association with the Satellite Digital Media News Network, where every team is a fan, every fan is a voice, the network home of champions. 49ers football, faithful to the Bay. Have a pleasant good night, everybody. Take care.